Hi everyone. So we're here in front of the BC Supreme Court where the court is about to hear the case about the churches that have decided to continue open during these COVID restrictions. And so this has been almost 3 months now where churches have not been allowed to meet in person. And so we're waiting for the court to make a decision on this. So for the next 3 days, the court's going to hear arguments by the JCCF, the governments, and hopefully ARPA. And we will decide and we'll hear and make these cases to the Supreme Court here. So Andre, maybe you want to explain why we're here and why we're planning to intervene in this case.
Yeah. So ARPA Canada is actually taking a position at this point anyway that whether or not churches decide that faithful obedience looks like meeting despite what the civil government is saying, or patiently waiting until the civil government changes their mind, or until a court decides that no, in fact, churches can meet. Those are two options that I think churches need to be able to make. Their own leadership needs to be able to make that decision, and ARPA is not really weighing into that. The case here involves office bearers, elders and pastors who have made the determination that God's word compels them to meet in the circumstances. And so we want to intervene here, and we want to be able to speak legal arguments from our perspective, the Reformed Christian perspective, speak that into the court proceedings in a way that hopefully will help the judge as he analyzes this case and understands where we come from. So we're not going to weigh in on to whether or not it would have been more proper or more right or more biblical to wait for a court decision or to proceed with worshiping and then pursuing court action. We're not weighing into that. All we're weighing into is, look, we have certain fundamental freedoms in this country enshrined in the Constitution, and those that need to be properly weighed.
So what exactly are we specifically asking the court to do here? We're bringing about the importance of worship here, but what are we asking the court to do in this case?
Right. So it's important for us to remember that the ones who are asking the court to do something very particular is actually the churches themselves and not ARPA Canada. So the churches themselves are actually weighing in and asking the judge, please vindicate our rights. Please stand up for us. Please tell the Dr. Henry that she also needs to respect our right to worship.
Yeah.
Reasonable restrictions are okay, but please respect our right to worship. So that's very important. What ARPA is going to be doing is laying in front of the judge, look, here's Section 2C of the Charter, which protects the fundamental freedom of peaceful assembly. How does that look like? What does that look like in a religious context, in a pandemic context? This is what, and so we want to weigh in there. And then another unique argument that we're trying to make is that when we have two fundamental freedoms at stake, which we do here, right? Freedom of religion is protected by Section 2A of the Charter, and freedom of peaceful assembly, 2C, and they're both happening at the same time. So it actually should bring about greater concern, greater protection for churches, and we want to bring that aspect also to the judge's attention.
So in this case, there are 3 churches specifically that are named in the case and bringing this towards the court. If we get what we want, if we're granted and the court sides with us, will it only apply to those 3 churches or will it apply broader than that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for sure it will apply to those 3 churches. I think it's open to the judge on how he rules. But even if it just applies to those 3 churches, what's likely to happen is that the public health officer, Dr. Bounty Henry, will take this under advisement and say, okay, look, this judge has ruled this way for these churches. I should probably amend my order to make sure I give more latitude to churches in order to meet carefully, reasonably during this time of COVID pandemic.
Okay, so we're about to head in a few minutes.
Yeah.
What's going to be on the docket specifically today in the court?
Okay. Well, actually, so there's first going to be a whole bunch of procedural matters that need to be sorted out at the very beginning. But I think the hope is that the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, which is representing these churches, they hope to really get into the substance of their argument today and really lay that all out before the judge. We're also hoping, ARPA's also hoping to sort out with the judge as well how much we get to intervene in this case. Will it be just written arguments? Will it be oral arguments? We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully we'll have an update at the end of the day as far as that goes.
Yep, sounds good. So we'll be in the air for most of the day. We'll hopefully bring bring an update at the end of the day and throughout the week about how this case goes. And just like, Andre, if you were hazard a guess, like how long after these hearings are done will we get a decision?
Yeah, that's a really tough question, and it's I'll have to be careful with my guess, but I think that we should probably expect, because of the rushed nature of this, the urgency of the case, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a decision within a month or two.
Okay.
So,
okay,
yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll keep you updated through the times.
Take care.